I first heard about Black Broad Branch through an online search and was excited at the prospect, really, of learning a little bit more about my family and all the things that my grandmother shared with me. My fourth great-grandmother, Caroline Branham, was a dower slave of Martha Washington. And she came with Martha Washington when she went to live with George Washington after they were married. She raised her own family there at Mount Vernon and two of her children, most specifically my great-great-great-grandfather, Austin Branham. It is said was a product of both Caroline Branham and George Washington Parke Custis, who is George and Martha Washington's grandson and adopted grandson for George. One side of the family, his name is Guy Henry, purchased property there at Arlington where the cemetery is now. We're also learning that Guy Henry may not have been enslaved at all, but was born free. How did the family travel from Arlington all the way to DC? Basically through marriage. So my great-great-aunt, Laura Henry, married Robert Dorsey. Robert Dorsey is from a very large family in Maryland. And so DC was a happy medium point. So what did they do on Broad Branch? What didn't they do? The story that stands out most to me is my grandmother's Aunt Laura, I call her Aunt Laura, was a grocer. She had a farmette where she would grow some vegetables, some fruits and berries and whatnot, had chickens, and would sell her goods. And my grandmother always said that Aunt Laura had all the numbers in her head. She didn't need to write them down, knew what everybody owed her. And I'm delighted because it gave me a feeling that she was really smart. So my great-grandmother got married to Richard Shorter and began to have her own family, but still remained in the house there at Broad Branch. So it was extended family, all under one roof. How was their life there at Broad Branch? Hard, but very family-oriented, very warm, very nurturing. They took every advantage that they could to have a good and normal and decent life. Now comes 1928, thereabouts, they were offered money to sell their home to Chevy Chase Land Company so that they could build a school. But because my family was very well situated there, they did not want to sell. So they held out as long as they could. And in one such instance, close to 1931, the Evening Star of Washington, D.C. posted an article wherein they said that the presence of this black family was thought to be undesirable and thought it best to be removed as if they were a spot. It drove home the tenacity that my family had to stay where they were and not buckle under pressure, even when it did get ugly, and it did get ugly. But eventually they had to sell. They could see that everybody else was gone. It brings to mind the psychological trauma that they endured as a result of these eminent domain acts of mental violence, if you will. And a lot of my family members suffered as a result. The importance of knowing the story of Broad Branch is great. My thrust in telling our story is to educate, is to teach people that we were here. We were a presence. We did strive to make a living, and that we were a purposeful community. We were purposeful people that had ambitions, who had lives, who raised families, even through the face of adversity and impossibilities. We made it happen. We against all odds. And we're still here. And we're still here telling our story.